Welcome to the Profit Playbook. We are ending 2025 like a badass. I'm so glad that all of you are here. Just a few housekeeping notes. If you have a question for Christina or myself anytime during this webinar, feel free to raise your hand, pop it in the chat, and Mike or myself or Christina will answer your question live. So feel free to interrupt. This is an interrupt please zone.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So, I know you guys are going to hear about this until you buy your tickets. So if you had not bought your tickets for the Pharmacy Profit Summit, we'll be going over AI, hiring, delegation. I'm not going to say that we're going to have a bunking hog instead of a bunking bronc to ride on, but we're going to have a bunking hog, as in piggy bank. And I find myself funny. I don't know if anybody else does, but I think that's fantastic. So get your tickets now. For the lowest prices. There won't be a lowest price. Once our prices go up, there won't be a way to get them at a lower cost. So get them now. If you are a Pharmacy Badass member, please go into the membership site. Use that link for your special member discount. Okay. Oh no. Well, my slide didn't work, but we are going through for our Pharmacy Badass University members. Where this fits on our KPI metric is this is an OTC sales multiplier. It'll be right here. This is when you're building, you've gone through reversing, you're in building mode, and you know, selling OTCs can happen in any mode, quite honestly, but this is where we're really going to focus it, put a champion on it, and focus on it. Oh, there it goes. My animation worked. I was just too slow for it. Pharmacy Badass University. Lisa has challenged me and the rest of the team to get to 1,000 members by November. We are chugging along. It's going great, but we could still use your help. If you're not a member, join us at our $100 membership. Get the newsletter, dive into one topic, one strategy a month. I know it'll help you. If not, we have a 90-day back guarantee. Lisa says this all the time. If you don't want us to take your money, we don't want to have your money. So it's worth becoming that $100 member and seeing if we're a good fit. And hey, if we are not a good fit, you can always go back to using our free resources. It's nothing like you won't be our friend anymore, although we'd love to make you a Pharmacy Badass University member. You know, there's just strength in numbers. I can negotiate better deals for our members when there are more of us. You guys get to bounce back and feedback. I was chatting with Jonathan from the Georgia Pharmacy Association, and he has a great term. It's wisdom sharing. And I think that's such a great term for what we get to do when we are all thinking the same, in the same place, and can work that way. So if you are not a member, scan this. If you don't have time to scan it, as always, text me or email me for any old thing and I can help you. So we're going to move on to who and what we're talking about. So this is the Probiotic Playbook for Pharmacy Success, winning the gut health game. And I will say that this is Christina O'Connor. I should say that too. From what I love about this company to begin with is they came to me and said, not just only can you market our stuff, can you get this in front of your members, but I said, you know what? The best way to do this, or the most value that we can give our members, is if you would like to present your product, yes, but really tell them how to do it. So these ladies, and Alyssa is phenomenal, but could not be here. There was a schedule conflict, so she couldn't be here. But I believe she's in the courses, right? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. So you'll meet Alyssa in the courses. Now, these ladies came and said, okay, great. We will create a course for your membership. I said, great. Lots of times when I say that, I'm going to be fully transparent. Lots of times when I say that, companies never follow through. These ladies were on it, followed through, created a course. So not only do they have a fabulous product, they have brought the strategy and the course that you, or we're going to delegate, your team can go through. So Christina, welcome so much. Thank you for coming on with us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure. We're super excited to be here and to be a part of what you guys are doing. We see tons of success with our pharmacies that are Pendulum customers. So we just wanted to share a little bit of that success with you all. So you don't want me to go through the modules, right? This is just like, or you do want me to?
We want to show them what's in the modules. Tell us about, well, first off, tell us about the product. Tell us what it is, who it's for. I think you guys have a great angle to, and the formula that you've specified the angle for. So tell us a little bit of who the heck you are, because
Yes.
I guarantee you none of our folks, or very few, even have heard about your company.
Perfect. Okay. So I'll start with me. I am a registered dietitian. My name's Christina O'Connor, and I work for Pendulum Therapeutics. And we can dive into the company and the products. But we're a microbiome company. So we started the journey here at Pendulum manufacturing a very specific anaerobic strain that has never been manufactured before. So typically, and as you'll learn in our courses, what you see in the probiotic marketplace, and really over the last 50 years or so, it's been the same lactobacillus and bifidobacteria strains, just reformulated into different products. And those strains are incredible. They're great for human health. They offer a lot of benefits. Patients see a ton of benefits from those types of strains and those organisms, but they are organisms that you come into contact with in your everyday, environment, through the environment, playing in the dirt, being exposed to the environment, your fermented foods, your yogurts, those sorts of things, because those strains can survive easily in oxygen. So that's where Pendulum is really on the forefront of this science and innovation. Being able to, our scientists they have their backgrounds, they're microbiologists, they have their backgrounds in DNA sequencing, and they actually invented and figured out this technology needed to grow anaerobic bacteria like Akkermansia muciniphila. So don't let that name scare you. It's a keystone species. So that just means that when it's missing from human health, we see a lot of negative downstream effects. So it's a really popular bug in the literature and in the research. The microbiome space in the journals and in the literature has really exploded since around 2003. You can find a lot of information on this particular bug and how it impacts human health.
That's fantastic. And so tell us a little bit about Pendulum, how long you guys have been around, all of the fantastic things, and quite frankly, brag a little bit about the team, because you guys are a fantastic team over there. So go ahead.
Yeah.
I won't ask and answer the question. I will let you go.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Yeah. So the company started and is primarily a direct to consumer company, but they also have a healthcare side, a healthcare branch, and we're all registered dietitians on the healthcare side of the business. So the company started, we launched our first product in 2020, so in the height of the pandemic. But there was about 10 years of research and development that went into developing this technology that I mentioned to grow anaerobic bacteria, and then also doing a clinical study on the product that we launched in 2020. So that's another thing that makes our company really unique. A lot of the probiotic companies that you see out there today, they're sourcing ingredients from other places, from other manufacturers, and then they're pulling data and studies, that exist on these organisms and sort of, making their own concoctions and saying you might be able to get these benefits, based on this study, based on this strain. But what's unique about Pendulum is that our research is on our finished product formulation. We own the process from the beginning to the end. We're growing the organism. We've clinically studied the organism in this final formulation. And so that's what makes our company unique. And the product that we launched in 2020, it's called Glucose Control. So it actually has an FDA approval. It's certified to be a medical food for the treatment of type 2 diabetes. So we saw some really fantastic results that are actually comparable to results that you would see with metformin. And so this is in the safety of a probiotic. You're getting clinical efficacy, you're getting clinical, almost pharmaceutical results in the safety and efficacy of a probiotic formulation. So completely natural.
That's fantastic. So aside from type 2 diabetes or glucose intolerant folks, is there anybody else that this is really a magic key for?
Yeah, and that's a great question. So the formulations, the Akkermansia strain in particular, and then the rest of the strains in our products are all butyrate producing bugs. And so you really get two key benefits from our products. And one is the metabolic component. So butyrate producing bugs, butyrate is really the key to unlocking those metabolic processes in the gut, stimulating the production of GLP-1, helping to lower A1C naturally, helping to lower after meal glucose spikes naturally. But then the other really interesting and important thing that these strains do is gut barrier repair. So if any of your pharmacists or your patients or your clients are coming up to you with leaky gut concerns or just inflammation in general, inflammation a lot of times stems from the gut being too permeable. And so that's where these organisms come into play. They help to heal the gut locally, which helps to reduce inflammation in the bowel. But then also you get that systemic reduction of inflammation as well because they're sealing up those tight junctions in between the cells and repairing the mucosal barrier and keeping that gut from being too leaky and too permeable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And um, so really, I mean, we're all kind of struggling with either close to leaky gut or inflammation with our diets. That's a fair statement to say?
It
It's a
is.
pretty
And
big population.
yeah, and despite our best efforts even to eat a healthy diet, it kind of goes beyond the food choices and it seeps into the toxins that are in our food that are sometimes unavoidable. And so those toxins like glyphosate and seed oils and things like that, they wreak havoc on the gut layer and the permeability issues that people experience. So, you can have the best intentions trying to eat a clean diet, a whole foods diet, but, toxins are sneaking into our water, our air, our food. So it's becoming a more and more of a toxic environment these days to live in.
Now, I have a friend in here that I know is going to ask this question, so I'm going to ask it before he can. So you first mentioned that you are a direct to consumer company. What is the benefit of the pharmacist being able to carry this product? If they can, do they get it cheaper wholesale so the prices are better in independent pharmacy? And where are the places are that you're selling them to? Is it on Amazon? Do they have to find your website? Talk to us a little bit about how your direct to consumer works and how it could benefit independent pharmacy?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So, yes, we treat our pharmacists just like our healthcare practitioners. So, they have access to wholesale pricing. So, there's about a 40% margin for providers on the products. And we do discount beyond that when you start getting into some different volumes. So, there are lots of discounts that pharmacists can unlock by being a customer with us. Yes, we do sell our products on our Pendulum website. And then there are a few of the products that are also on our storefront on Amazon. Not all of them are available there. The best pricing that consumers will see is the pricing on our very own website. So yeah, that is something that we do. But like I said, we offer exclusive pricing for practitioners.
Okay. Okay. I knew that question was coming. I could see his little fingers tingling already as soon as you said we started out as a direct consumer.
Yep.
Well, you know what? I think I'm sold. Tell me about your guys' awesome course that you're putting inside of Pharmacy Badass University.
Absolutely. So we saw some tremendous success with two pharmacy customers that are Pendulum customers. They actually are our number one and number two top selling practitioners. So they beat out all of our other healthcare practitioners, and they just do an incredible business with the Pendulum products. And we've invested in them. They've invested in us. We do all kinds of different activations with them. We do Pendulum RD inspired meal plans with them, and so they can sell those in tandem with the products. And so just some really cool, fun activations. And so we thought, we need to reach out to other pharmacists and let them know that that's the success that these two pharmacies have had selling the Pendulum products, so that others can benefit.
That's fantastic. So, are you going to show us a sneak peek into the courses today, or
I
let's
absolutely can do that.
let's
Yes.
get, or at least you could talk about what each module is, because
Yep.
I love you ladies. That when I said you should do this, this is the way you do it. You guys hit it on the head, which is fantastic. I love that there's different modules. They're easy to digest. So you won't feel lost in the sauce as
Yes.
as you're going through these courses.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, this second slide, can you guys see my slides? How do
Yep,
I?
you're
Okay.
good to go.
Okay. So we start the course by outlining the market opportunity. So we did a lot of research here. We have a lot of this information and just sort of looking at the different groups that are out there, millennials, Gen Z, Gen X, like what are the things, what are the health categories that they're interested in? If anyone is aware, Walmart has actually taken sort of a new spin on offering these clinically elevated products in their wellness offerings now. So you can kind of see how the industry is taking a step up. People really don't want just the general probiotic off the shelf. Consumers are really understanding that these strains, they have specific jobs within the gut microbiome. And so they want to see the clinical science. They want to know if the strain that they're taking is actually going to benefit, what they're trying to achieve. And so we lay out the market opportunity for pharmacies, and what we've actually seen in real world experience. And then in module 2, we do a deep dive into the science, and sort of the innovation, like I talked about earlier, behind the strains, behind the manufacturing, because there's lots of interesting questions that people will ask. If these are anaerobes, like how are you able to keep them alive? And how are you able to deliver them to the colon where they're actually going to be doing their work? And so we go into all of that, and we can go into that even deeper if your pharmacies want to adopt the Pendulum products. Some of our proven strategies, we take a lot of time and effort to educate your pharmacist, so that when they have clients and patients coming into the pharmacy, and they're talking about, the things that they're trying to achieve, when your pharmacists are educated, they understand the science, they're excited about the products, then they can usually match the patient with one of the Pendulum products. And so we go to great lengths to make sure that everybody feels like they're educated and they can speak to the science and speak to the products. And then the playbook is really case studies, those real world examples of those two pharmacies that have done just an incredible probiotics business with Pendulum. And so, we walk you through what we did with them. Like I mentioned, the RD curated meal plans, just some of the things that we're doing with them in the future. The really gorgeous marketing assets that Pendulum offers. Halle Berry is a Pendulum customer. And so if you think that your community would respond well to that, we have lots of really beautiful assets with Halle Berry holding the Pendulum products. And she has a great story. She had great success with the Pendulum products in her own metabolic journey. And so that's a really fun way to introduce your community to the products as well.
That's fantastic. I don't know a community that would not respond well to Halle Berry.
Yeah, yeah. She's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that well, see, and that's fantastic. So module 1 and module 2 were really train your folks in such a way that they have confidence to then speak about the product. And it doesn't have to be a script. They can internalize it and really add their own flair, their own spice to it as they're talking
Yes.
to customers and asking for the sale. And then the playbook, I love the playbook because number one, it's showing you what's already being done. So this isn't a company that came to me and said, I think I have a great product that I think your folks can sell. They said, hey, we have these two pharmacies that are going bananas with this. And we'd like to tell your other folks exactly how they're doing it. So this is a rinse and repeat, not a start from scratch. And we're all trying to fumble it together. So I love that part about it. And then their marketing efforts are really fabulous. And they share those marketing assets with you all, as she mentioned, which is absolutely fantastic. So I think that this roadmap, this playbook would be fantastic for anybody that, if you already have a probiotic, you don't shy away because you already have a probiotic. There's different probiotics, there's different strains, there's so much for each one, which I learned, with my friend Hutan, that guy is a library of information on the strands, just as these ladies are. That's two different companies, and that's Hutan with Nudora, but that's two different companies that both just have such in-depth knowledge. And I'm sure that they cross over, but I don't remember them specifically crossing over. So my point to that is, don't shy away from having one or the other. If you already have one, this may be a great way to add to your GLP-1 weight loss classes and memberships, women's healthy gut and inflammation, all of those kinds of things. So I wouldn't shy away. I would at least have a conversation with the ladies there and really see, you may have the identical one. And so, it may be a conversation for down the road, but you may not have those specific strands and the ability to speak about them in this way. So it's always worth a conversation with folks. I know you guys are busy, but those 15-minute little conversations can really tell you exactly if it's right for your pharmacy. Lisa and I both say this. Even pharmacies with the same owner are never exactly the same. I think that this is fantastic. I love your course, Christina. I love what you guys have done here and can't wait for us to launch it. We are launching it right after this webinar. This was a sneak peek into it, and then we will be launching it for our Pharmacy Badass members. Does anybody have any questions for Christina? Mike, do you have any questions for Christina?
I have a question, being a coach and having to get pharmacists to respond, right, to take a product they may not be familiar with, but I think that your course will help them get more comfortable. And if they're going to pass that on to a technician, who should they, let's look at the easiest aspect. Who should they be looking at first? So if they have their pharmacy system, they're looking through patients who they think if someone's going to come in who I know has an issue, how would I go about finding that person? Who would be the first person we should present to or see if that product makes value to them?
So are you asking how do you identify the patient or the client that would actually need these products? Am I
Right, right. Or maybe on other medications that leads to depletion that you say, this is what I believe we'd have a good success of a conversation with.
Yeah, absolutely. So, any of your patients or clients that are concerned about metabolic health, so that can be all the way up to your patients that are type 2 diabetic. My mom is a type 2 diabetic. She's on Ozempic. She still takes our glucose control product because it actually helped her get through some of the plateaus that she experienced while on Ozempic. So, she had kind of plateaued with weight loss, she had plateaued with her A1C. When we added the glucose control, it helped tremendously, and even further with appetite control. It helped to drop her A1C a couple more points. And so it's just been kind of a game changer for her. So that's a great population. But then all the way down to the people who are like, I have a family history of diabetes. I'm making diet and lifestyle changes now. What can I do to boost my microbiome to make sure that, I have what I need to prevent type 2 down the line. So, a lot of our products are, kind of spin-offs of the glucose control. And so they're the same strains in a lower dose and a lower potency to help those people that, are doing sort of more of the preventative work. They're also great for your patient who is coming in dealing with IBS symptoms. So, like I mentioned, with the leaky gut, Akkermansia, and some of these other butyrate producing bugs, they have been shown in the literature to be helpful from the most extreme, like ulcerative colitis, Crohn's. You'll see Akkermansia implicated in those conditions quite frequently. But even just for those people who deal with bloating and food intolerances and just the occasional IBS type symptoms, these strains, when they're repairing the gut barrier, you're no longer getting those toxins, those food proteins, those opportunistic and pathogenic bugs. You're no longer getting them in the systemic circulation. And so the body has sort of a calming effect, and you tamp down the inflammatory response when you start to seal up the gut barrier. So when I say that like Akkermansia is a cure-all, it has implicated in so many different disease states and conditions because we know that the root of, for example, metabolic conditions and pretty much any disease out there, the root cause is inflammation. So anything that you can do to reduce inflammation in the body is going to help with everything. And so that's why Akkermansia is considered to be one of those keystone strains. Like I said, when it's missing from the human gut microbiome, we see a lot of negative downstream effects. So it is a bug that everyone should have, but it's missing because of, like we talked about at the beginning of the presentation, toxins in our food. Just a course of pharmaceuticals will disrupt the gut microbiome. If patients are not consuming high levels of polyphenols, that's the energy source for Akkermansia, it will literally just go missing. And so that's when we start to see inflammation in the body when it's not present.
Great
That's
detail. That's
Yeah,
nice.
that's incredible. So we got one comment. I love the idea of meal plans. And then some questions. What are the different products and how much do they cost the pharmacy? And how much do they retail for? And then how about the meal plans?
Yes, absolutely. And so the meal plans, I'll start there. That's really like a nice add-on. So our pharmacists that are doing really well with the products, what they've started to do is bundle the products. So in a set of three, they sell it to their patients at 3 bottles at a time, and they give them a little bit of a further discount when they purchase three at a time, because our research shows that it takes around 8 to 12 weeks to start to make changes, make positive changes to the gut microbiome. And so for that reason, you're setting the expectations for the patient. You're helping them to understand that this is an investment, and that they may not see a difference after 1 month, and that they do need to give it the full 2 to 3 months before they start, making an assessment of whether or not it worked for them. So a lot of the pharmacists they're throwing in the meal plans, which are, polyphenols for a healthy gut microbiome, or high fiber diets, intermittent fasting, gluten-free, vegetarian, 1600 calorie, 2000 calorie, written by our Pendulum RDs. And you can add that as a nice bonus, or, something that you can throw in when patients are willing to purchase the 3 bottles at a time. As far as the cost of the products, so the glucose control you can consider to be at the top of our pyramid. So that's our clinically studied, our strongest product, and the one that we studied in patients that have full-blown type 2 diabetes. It's taken twice a day. It retails for $99. So that's what we sell it to patients for. And we're doing a little bit of pricing restructuring on that one for wholesale, but typically you can expect about a 40% margin. So and again, when you have higher volumes, we can discount those products even further. And then next in line in terms of potency would be our Pendulum Metabolic Daily. So it's kind of like a copycat of the glucose control. It's a great product for someone who is just looking for general overall gut health and wants to get those Akkermansia and butyrate producing strains introduced. It's for the pre-diabetic, and it is almost a replica of the glucose control, but just in a lower dose. Because it's not as strong, it's also not as expensive. And again, you have a 40% margin minimum on that product. It retails for, we're also doing a little bit of formulation change with that particular product. We're making it stronger. So I don't know how much that's going to end up being for consumers. But again, you can expect that 40% margin. And then the last product is the GLP-1 product. And this product has an interesting history. Right now, it's only available to practitioners. We don't sell it to the public any longer. I think you can find it on Amazon, but we don't promote it on the Pendulum website, because a lot of consumers and patients really, they thought it was a GLP-1. They thought it was going to replace a GLP-1 injection. And so, they weren't experiencing the weight loss like they thought that they should, even though we never marketed the product to be a weight loss probiotic. So we took it off of the consumer side, and it's available to healthcare practitioners and pharmacists. It is actually the #1 selling product in the 2 pharmacies that I mentioned. And the retail on that, the suggested retail is around $75, I think. And then we wholesale the product for $39. It is actually the least in strength out of all of the products. So it goes glucose control, metabolic daily, and then GLP-1 is at the bottom. And it's 3 of our 5 strains. So glucose control has all 5, Pendulum Metabolic Daily has all 5, and then GLP-1, not to confuse you, GLP-1 just has 3 of the 5. So those are our top 3 products. Of course, Akkermansia is available in a single strain option because it is such a popular strain and a keystone strain, and helps with that gut barrier integrity, and also has metabolic implications. We sell it just as a single strain, so that's also available. And then we make a polyphenol booster. So like I mentioned, Akkermansia needs polyphenols as its energy source. And so that's another really great addition. You know, if people are invested, they want to improve their gut health, they want to support their akkermansia, the polyphenol booster is a nice, inexpensive add-on.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Do we have any other questions? Gosh, Christina, you are a wealth of information.
I could talk all day.
No, you're fantastic. I am walking away feeling like I am so smart.
Oh, yes, it's truly my favorite subject. I love microbiome science. So if you want to nerd out, give me a shout.
So how do our folks get a hold of you?
Absolutely. So you can reach out to, I will put my email in the chat. And we have a fantastic healthcare practitioner team that includes me and Alyssa, and Eleanor, and we can get you trained and, you know, provide all of these resources and take a deep dive on the science. So I will drop my email in the chat.
And then, of course, all of Christina's information will be in the replay tomorrow as well. Thank you so much for coming on here. Thank you so much for creating the course. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us. You have been a wealth of knowledge. I am thrilled to be partnering with you guys. If you guys have any questions, she just popped her email in the chat. And so I'm telling you, you don't have to absolutely buy it. Oh, we have a raised hand. Oh, now it's down. It was up, now it's down. But it's so worth just having those 15-minute conversations with the folks that we that you think you're interested in. It really lets you have a definitive yes or no, and you can move on with your life. Close those brain circles. Okay, so thank you so much. We will put all of that in the well, we passed question and answer time, but we'll put all that in the replay tomorrow. Next week or next time, we'll have Real Value on, and they're going to be giving you some strategies on some of their products. That will be super duper duper interesting. Again, please join me and come ride on the mechanical hog at the Pharmacy Profit Summit. If you don't think that's cool or you think I'm lame, you can tell me in private, but in public, please laugh with me because I think I am so dang funny for finding this mechanical hog, which I think, you know, we're going to name like Einstein, which is our pet piggy bank around here. So I'm very thrilled for just this one part. Members, please go into the membership portal to buy your tickets. Badass University. Now, I forgot to mention this earlier. If you are a Badass University member and have a friend that you would like to refer to join, inside of the membership portal, you have a referral link that will get you some free months. So check that out. If you need more details on it, you can email me, or you can always ask Mike when you're chatting with him, or email him. We can both help you with the referrals, and you become basically an affiliate. You get free months when you refer your friends. So that's worth it. Thank you guys so much for coming. I forgot to mention today's NFL jersey is the Bengals. Don't laugh at me. I've been a Bengals fan since I was a little girl, even before the Packers. And they're not doing so hot at all this year, Mike. But everybody we did just sign Joe Flacco, so he might be our guy. Everybody have a great rest of your Wednesday. I will see you in 2 weeks. If I don't see you sometime before that at one of the upcoming shows, we'll be at PrimeRx this weekend. And then, of course, at NCPA, we would love to see all of your smiling faces, whether you're a member or not. Come by and say hi, and let me know if there's any topics that you'd like for me to chat with. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.